guys, you know what I like about traveling besides good coffee? Is the mystery that is involved. And today we're going to a mysterious place. We're going to Ñaupa Iglesia, a not very famous place that hides a lot of mystery and wisdom in it. Two main theories surround this place. One of them says that this may be a portal in time or to another dimension. And another theory says, which has been researched, that this may have been used to follow the sun, the moon and the star space in order to make agricultural decisions. Anyway, the best way to know about it is by being there. And this delicious coffee, you and I are going there. I'll see you in a minute.
Hello travelers, I am Mickey. Some time ago, I quit my teaching job to become a tour guide because I wanted to hike the mountains and become one with nature, and of course to continue teaching people, but this time about our wonderful country. But then things got difficult for tourism due to COVID-19. So now my bro Benoni and I decided to continue making travelers lived experience, but this time through his camera and my guiding. Enjoy nature, the stars, the moon, the sun, and learn how our ancestors learned to read their messages and made wonderful buildings. Every day is a new experience. Come with us and meet wonderful people on our way. Go back in time and get to know our ancestors better. We don't love what we don't know. Come with us, we'll learn together.
Hey, we're going to Ñaupa Iglesia, as I said. But Ñaupa means old in Quechua. I remembered something about the Inca's philosophy. When I read about it, it said that they thought that if you look so deep into your past, you'll be able to see your future. In this case, Ñaupa means so old that it is already future. And Iglesia means church. But we believe this is definitely a modern name. But this place has two probable ancient names, Choquella or Choquequilla. Actually, it would mean gold moon or where the moon shines. Anyway, we're going to see there and what this is about. But there are two things that caught my attention on the way there, and one of them is a sacred rock. People believe that this is like a footprint for a kind of construction, we'll see that. But there is another interesting thing, which is a rock art painting on the rock at the base of the mountain. People believe this is not that important because it is definitely, or what they think, not Inca sign, but it is worth seeing. Let's see. Do you feel it? The wind in Quechua is Huayra. Beautiful name in Quechua. This is Maqueta Inca. 10 minutes from Ollantaytambo, there is a sacred rock. We all know from Siete, for example, in Apurímac, that Incas used footprints in order to plan their projects. They say that Maqueta is like a footprint, but we don't see any building similar to this. Anyway, it has a lot of things we have to see. It is really important this stop. Remember, 10 minutes from Huarocondo on the way to Ollantaytambo on the Pachar Road, you have to make a stop. Come with us. Hog, Iska, Quinza, Tawa. Tawa in Quechua means four. As a matter of fact, the name of the empire was Tawantinsuyo, which means 4 big regions. 4 is a very important number to Incas. 4 keeps appearing everywhere since the beginning, like the name Tawantinsuyo, until this kind of construction. As you can see, we have enough space here for water to be poured. We don't see any building similar to this like this, so we don't really know if this is actually a footprint. Anyway, what I know about Incas using water was for watching the night sky. It seems that there is a film that eyes cannot take off when directly watching the sky that water can. So anyway, this is a really sacred place. I'll tell you why.
Before we continue, there are two words that you have to know: Huaca and Siete. Huaca was something or somewhere really sacred, such as Huanacaor in Cusco or Ñaupa Iglesia itself, where people would go to ask their oracles and perform ceremonial rituals in many cases. Siete was an imaginary line closely linked to astronomy that would come out of the genitals of the puma in Coricancha of Cusco, towards all over the world like a great sun, and its rays were the Sietes, and along their way there were knots named Huacas. We have to remember that to Incas, Cusco was puma-shaped. So, having not found a building near the footprint and being located right in the line that connects Coricancha and Ñaupa Iglesia, I can be sure it was a huaca with something sacred to offer. Just remember what you see: 4 small windows on the wall towards Cusco. 4 is Tawa in Quechua. Let's remember that the empire was divided in 4 suyos for a better administration due to the large extension of the territory. But before Incas, the wise ethnic groups had already had the 4-part distribution philosophy. We will talk about it in another video. Besides, there is enough room for water to be poured and watch the night sky reflected and follow the path of the moon and the stars. Now, it is your turn to make your own conclusions and leave your first comment.
That is the painting I was telling you about. But there is just one way to take a close look. Sometimes you have to do things that were not planned. Oh my god, it's really cold.
Hoj, Isca, Quinza, Tawa, Pisca, Socta, Canchis. In Quechua, it is from 1 to 7. And if you have seen any kind of light during your life, you will remember that 7 is an interesting number. And here we have 7 llamas, but there is more. Pay close attention. People say that many things about this painting, but there is very little documentation about it. After a quick research, I found out that rock art in Cusco comes from very ancient hunters and collectors to even colonial times, and of course, it deserves its own documentary. However, I can give you my opinion based on what I saw and on what I could quickly read for this video. There is Inca, pre-Inca or even earlier evidence of rock art with llamas, the sun, among other items with messages related to grazing or roads to follow. But there are also rock art interventions in colonial times. In some cases, they added the cross or changed icons into Catholic symbols, and in some cases, they painted new walls. What is amazing about this place is that it seems to be a mix of the 3. It is unbelievable that some people wouldn't value this just because it is not Inca or time before. I believe that art is timeless and its messages must be deciphered. May I invite you to see our episode on rock art, coming soon.
And following the road, we finally got to the place we've been looking for. Ñaupa Iglesia archaeological place or site. Not long ago I told you what wind was in Quechua. Wind is huayra. Here you can see I'm wearing a jacket now because at this time of the year, especially in the afternoon, it gets really windy. There is a video that says that the voice of the mountain, like the spirit that lives here, is named Huayra. If you leave a comment, I'll send you the link. Let's go. We got here Ñaupa Iglesia, Choquella or Choquequilla, is behind this rock. Something that we have to pay attention here is first, safety comes first. Pay close attention to safety instructions and follow them. It's for your own safety. Number two, as you can see, there are terraces here. You know that agriculture in English was based mainly in the building of terraces so they could take advantage of the land on the hills. But these terraces, in fact, were used for agriculture because huacas, remember, sacred place, were considered as living beings, and of course it had people, servants that worked for them, and so food grown here was to feed these servants, these people, and also to feed the huaca itself in the way of offerings at special moments of the year that I will describe in a minute. Come with us.
As I said, it is a sacred place that follows a seque or imaginary line that comes from the origin at the navel of the world, Coricancho in Cusco, going through a sacred rock. There is no doubt that this is one of the most mysterious places of Cusco, as there is evidence of two kinds of buildings. But there are many stories in which Ñaupa Iglesia is a dimensional portal and some other fantastic scenarios. Due to its distribution, starting at what seems to be a purification or reflection room, is for sure a worshipful place where people would access respectfully.
We got here, and remember, being this a huaca must have been a really sacred place. And according to the distribution, if we access this through the main entrance, we're going to have this place which seems to be a place where you could meditate, or like a reflection room. So being this a sacred place, like I said, I'm going to meditate and calm down a little bit. I want to forget the stress of the city that I left back there. Definitely, it was a really nice experience to meditate a little bit, to leave behind the stress of the city. We're going to go to Ñaupa Iglesia, and we have to remember three important things about this place. We're going to see first a very mysterious rock containing ornaments. Two, we're going to see a very big wall. According to what we see, it seems to be pre-Inca times, but according to actual research, it was Inca time. Anyway, I'll explain what I know when we get there. But three, there is a very interesting place in a stone like this, carved, finely carved, like a window with no end, like a blind window. So these three important things are the things that we're going to see there. Come with us. Look at that. That is the sacred rock I told you about. this is really important, because if the theory of the researchers was true, that stone was able to measure 4 important times of the year that I am going to tell you later. Something that calls our attention is that big wall that has 8 windows in 2 different levels, and I'll give you information later. But something really important is this rock that has this window. As you can see, it has this, so you cannot see through this. But if that theory that this is a portal to another dimension was true, this is actually the gate you would go through. Come with us.
Two main theories surround this sacred rock. One is that it was designed and used to follow the stars, moon, and sun space to make agricultural decisions. Another theory says that it is where you get the key to access to another dimension through the gate across from it. Let's talk about the first one. According to Mr. Erwin Salazar and his investigation blog, this rock and its 3 chambers are related to agricultural purposes because you could tell when the solstices were, as well as sowing and harvesting times. For instance, the axis of the first chamber on the left pointed back in the 1500s the Southern Cross constellation on April 26th, announcing big harvest that happens in May. The central chamber, probably the most important one, announced the Inti Raymi because on winter solstice it pointed the Amaru constellation, now called Scorpio. The last but not the least chamber announced the sowing ritual by pointing the Wilkawara star on August 18th. This same alignment happened on December 23rd, announcing Kapag Raymi or summer solstice. It is important to remember that by now those alignments have shifted due to the precessional movement of the equinoxes. However, it is still verifiable by approximation. Wow, it really makes me think about how we use our time nowadays with a stressful schedule on the clock based on an hour-to-hour term. Ancient Peruvians would worry about 4 important moments in the year: when to sow, when to harvest, and the 2 limits of the sun. Now I see the 4-point chacana really important. They would wait for nature to tell them when and how to work the land. As for the supernatural purpose, in a minute I will talk about it, describing the possible gate. Something we have to point out is that this rock was clearly destroyed by gold diggers. At different times you can even see in the back part a similar rock that may have been part of the rock itself. On the left side of the entrance there is a big wall with 8 niches in 2 levels. From other archaeological places, we know that in many cases Incas would use an existing building that belonged to another ethnic group after conquering. So Incas would make it bigger, but you can tell that there were 2 different building moments. It seems to be one, but according to research done here, it was occupied by Incas only. It seems to be a ceremonial wall that is 7 meters long, 1 meter width at the base and 0.7 meters width at the top. It is a 3 meter tall wall with 8 trapezoidal niches distributed all over the wall with a very fine red clay cover. According to research and due to the characteristics, what we see here is a piece of mother rock of volcanic formation, where you can see a trapezoidal niche with a double jump finely carved there. It is located in the right side of the temple or ceremonial shrine, which constitutes a pattern from the late Horizon Inca period. But according to the supernatural stories and experiences you can find online, it seems to be the most interesting and mysterious part, because after getting the key from the sacred rock at the entrance, you can actually go through this gate to other dimensions. There is someone who has actually recorded a voice here using an app, and from what I saw in that video, that voice said the name of the entity was Huayca. We don't really know about this, so we consider that the whole episode with interviews with people who have gone through these experiences is needed. So keep posted, it will be ready in a few days. We definitely have got to come back, and you can come with us.
What time is it? Do you know? You know how stressful our life is hour by hour? Remember, Incas thought about 4 times in the year, and that was really important to them. But knowing that moment was something very advanced technological. So this is the place where the curaca, or main priest, who was able or wise enough to read the sky, would live. Probably him and his family would live here. So remember when I told you that those terraces were to grow food? Yes, family who lived here would work that land in order to serve the huaca. Amazing place. We just finished making the report on Ñaupa Iglesia. So, how fascinating is that? Definitely, we have to come back. Every time is a new experience, and every trip, even if this is to the same place, has something new to teach you. We definitely have to come back with someone who knows more about these supernatural things, and we are pretty sure we can find something interesting to learn. If you come with us, coffee is on us.